sort of like bomb noise that went off, and it was like boom to freedom. It's really iconic. I miss Queen Radio. I wish it was back on the air, but instead you have to listen to Clap If You Don't Care. Yes. That's right. You like that transition?
That was a good transition.
I talk about stuff nobody cares about.
Clap.
So yeah, I had a little hi-yo, and I'm just like a little bit like, hey-yo. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So we're back from Mexico City. We had a really fun trip.
We
got to listen to a lot of cool music that people were playing. I think we heard Mexican ska.
Yes, but I also don't really even know what ska music is.
Really?
Could be a whole nother episode if we want.
Yeah. I only really know of like a ska artist because in a past life, I was an event planner and we hired a really famous band. Well, they were famous in their time, I should say. The Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. You actually know one of their songs.
Really? Okay. Sing me.
I would never knock on wood.
Oh, yeah.
And then in that horn section. Yeah, so that's how I know ska music.
Okay.
Anyway, we had a really fun trip in Mexico. But we got some really cool stuff and we brought back some really nice items. So I would definitely go back.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about music.
All right, let's get into it.
Makes the people.
Music make me lose control.
I love that little remix. Today's episode topic is brought to us by one of our listeners. Yay! Clap, clap, clap for that listener. It happens to be my friend, Tori. She sent me a voice memo last week with this idea, and it's a really good topic. So she was wondering why artists sound so good live after 2 hours, or sometimes if you're like Taylor Swift, a 3-hour show. Like they're singing, they're dancing. Shouldn't they be huffing and puffing? How are they maintaining that stamina vocally?
Okay.
That's what she wanted to know. So we can bring her some answers and talk about it. Do you have any idea?
I have some ideas, but based on just like some intuition. And then also a little bit, I feel like you kind of like mentioned some of the things.
Okay.
Should I try to explain some of those things that I think?
Yeah.
Okay. So this one is a complete guess. My first guess is I think it has a lot to do. I think people don't appreciate that the vocal cords are muscles like any other muscle group.
Clock it. Yes.
And so I didn't really appreciate this until dating you, because I feel like you were sort of explaining to me, I was like, oh, you should start singing again. And you're like, I'm out of practice. And I'm like, oh, like I sort of think of it as like riding a bike. It's not like something that you practice. It's just something you do or don't do. But then you were explaining to me that no, it's literally like the strength of your vocal cords. It's like you literally could not sing for very long without going hoarse. And that changes over time the more you're singing. Like when you're in good practice, I feel like you have like just literally like the equivalent of like giant big biceps.
Yeah.
Like.
So you're right. There is training that needs to be involved. And some artists have a strict training routine. I think of Ariana Grande. I think of Taylor Swift. I think of, even though Taylor Swift is not like a huge vocalist, sorry, Swifties, but I mean,
yes,
she has now become like a better singer. And I think of artists like Miley Cyrus. She did like a Super Bowl show. It was a pre-show a few years back. And there's a clip of her singing, I know that you're wrong for me. Gonna wish you angels like you. And she's actually training. She's running on a treadmill while singing that song. And that song is already at the top of her range. And so why you want to sing it while walking is to help with breath control. Mm-hmm. And I think if you were like standing up, singing, that's one thing. Sitting down, and all these things I kind of had to experience when I was a singer, So yes, when you did come up with that crazy idea to say, why don't you sing again?
Yep.
It's not that crazy. There is some preparation that would have to go into that. I would need to like go back and work with the vocal coach because I feel like my voice gets exhausted, talking during my job and being on. Or there are some times where we will go out with friends. I can only do a few hours before my voice is gone. Artists will kind of stick when they're on tour, will limit their time outside, limit their time talking to people because the conditions, right? Right now we have Saharan dust blowing through Texas. And so my voice gets kind of hoarse because of that dust. Yeah, you're right on that point of your vocal cords and protecting them any chance you can.
Yeah. And the one other thing that I want to say that's sort of interesting about what you're talking about is you were like, she was like on a treadmill or she was walking and like practicing that particular range. That really closely mirrors like the weightlifting and like exercise community and like schools of thought. Specifically, there's a concept. I don't actually know what the name of this concept is, but I'm just going to call it like specific adaptation, which is like your muscles adapt to the exact movement that they're like how they're being strained. Like they're adapting exactly to how they're being strained, which is why machines in the gym can often lead to like some muscles getting bigger, but like maybe not exercising like your full arm if you're just using like a bicep machine or something like that. And so like really committed bodybuilders or weightlifters use free weights to practice like full range of motion movement where they're exercising kind of all those tiny little muscles that like stabilizers and everything like that, because that's like realistic to how you'd actually lift something in the real world is like those movements. And so I think like that also sort of translates. It's like, yeah, you want to practice specifically the exact same way that you're actually going to be moving about on stage so you can get better at like in that exact way.
Okay. So we said the voice is a muscle training. What other ideas did you have?
The other ideas I'll just categorize because I don't actually know a lot about these. I'll maybe like start off this conversation and say technology. And I have some opinions about, like, I'm interested to maybe learn a little more about this. I know that there's some technology that goes into some of this stuff. I don't know the details of what and how and the extent of it and how it all differs between artists. I'm sort of interested in that. As usual, probably some like strong opinions around the technology usage piece.
That was it for what you thought. It was just the vocal thing and the technology, right?
Yes.
You have another one. Okay. All right. So technology, you're right. There is some kind of technology that goes hand in hand with making these artists sound better in concert.
Okay.
Do you know what live autotune is?
I mean, I know what autotune is. And so judging by those two words, I can probably hazard a guess.
Okay, so spoiler alert for some people out there. Some of these artists are using kind of pitch correction software in real time during performances. T-Pain applying autotune in a song that you heard on the radio was done in post-production, right? He sang the song regularly and then applied that kind of filter on there. And what artists are doing is sometimes it's just a pitch correction just to make sure that they're on pitch. So that's one thing that people are using.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
Okay, so I think autotune, and I feel like I have an idea, and it is that T-Pain lack.
I love him. Don't say anything bad about him.
No, I'm not saying anything bad, but it's just like, it's really obvious.
Oh.
And I feel like that's like a 2005 autotune version of it that I have in my head. Like, has the technology gotten better? And then also, like, is the right analogy? I feel like there's like an analogy here between like autotune and like VFX, like in movies, where it's like, oh, like I know that's CGI, and it's like there's some really obvious things that are like that's bad CGI, but then it's like there's also really good CGI, And the good CGI, you never know is CGI. So my question was, like, is that a good analogy? Like the way that I'm thinking about it between like the obvious auto-tune being like obvious CGI, but there's like secretly really good auto-tune that people don't know is auto-tune. And there's like good CGI that people don't know is good CGI. Is that like the landscape right now as it exists?
I think there's great technology out there in this live autotune, but it's a spectrum. So I think the T-Pain example is probably the most extreme level of autotune. And I think when it's helping with pitch correction, it's very subtle. And I think it's only helping like just a little bit, just giving them a little bit of lift just in case. Like I feel like, you know, when you see Dua Lipa or Sabrina Carpenter, they're doing some choreography. They're laying on sets. They're climbing upstairs. And so I think it's just doing a little bit of lift just so that they stay on pitch. So it's very light and subtle.
In a way where like the average listener would not notice?
No, I think when you're in the concert and you're like, wow, they're singing. They're doing a great job. So yeah, it's very subtle. So another tool that artists are using is like pre-recorded vocals.
So are there like three things, like when you say pre-recorded vocals, are there like I'm thinking like there's like the original song like that's on Spotify, right? That's like the master song. And then like sometimes people say, oh, they're lip syncing. But when people are lip syncing, are they typically lip syncing to the master, like their master song that people are familiar with? Or are they, what you're saying is this intermediary thing where there's like a version of the song that they record once before the concert or like before the tour starts? That's like not the one that's on Spotify. So it sounds different. And then they lip sync to that song. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's possible. I think, well, I'm not like an expert. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but if you can really like have an ear for it and spot it out. So yeah, lip syncing is one thing, right? That's another reason why some artists sound really good live.
Well, lip syncing is pre-recorded vocals. Are those separate things that you're describing?
I will say a little bit. So the pre-recorded vocals are not necessarily that you're lip syncing the entire time. It's more so that it's just like extra added support for the artist. So like if there's harder sections of the song.
Oh.
I'm going to not sing that part and let the backing track do that pre-recorded vocal. So let me just hold off on this part and sing, you know, like, I found love in a hopeless place. But I don't want to keep singing that over and over and over. I might need to catch my breath here and there, or there's a big note where it's like, we found love. And then we want to hold out that note and it's very high. That pre-recorded vocal could just pop in and just carry it. And that artist can take a break during that part because they know that that's a pre-recorded vocal piece.
So I have a couple more questions now around this then, is like the technical bits around it. Like on their microphone, or is there like a button where it's like live versus like pre-recorded or something like that? Or is it just like, hey, there's going to be 4 spots that will have pre-recorded vocals in this thing, and so they're going to play no matter what in this like, do you know what I mean by like, do you know the technical components to this?
I mean, probably not. That's probably not a thing. Like, I think the microphones are probably just standard for it to kind of like, we're going to tap into one. I think that's just too much for the artist up there to kind of keep in mind, right? So I think it's like, if they know that they are not going to sing that big note at the end, that's like standard. And the other thing to consider is they're on tour. Like, this is not just like 1 or 2 stops. Yeah. This might be 30 stops or 128. You know what I mean?
Okay. So basically what you're saying is like at the beginning of the show, they know which songs have pre-recorded vocals, if there are any. And those are probably just going to play that way, where it's like they have that backup on like certain parts, and they perform the concert consistently, most likely with those pre-recorded vocals.
Like, no shade, but if you're J-Lo, you're probably always having stacked pre-recorded vocals. You know what I mean? Like J-Lo's not like
Yeah.
known for her vocals, but she will sing live. However, a lot of her songs are a little bit more dance vibes. And so I think she's going to want to do a little dance break right here, right there. She's going to be out of breath a little bit because she's doing all these crazy dance moves. So yeah, have that little pre-recorded vocal help you out when you need it to catch your breath.
Okay.
There's also something called a backing track. And that is, I think we saw it a lot with Nicki Minaj. So she has all those choruses in a lot of her songs. And it's like Starships, that chorus of Starships were meant to fly. She doesn't always sing that because one, she doesn't consider herself a singer. She's a rapper. So on the rap, she might sing, let's go to the beach, each, let's go get away. But when that chorus comes in, that's considered a backing track because it's vocals. The original vocals come in during that chorus so that it can carry on the song, right?
Okay. And then at that point in the concert, no shame. There's no shame around it. She might just literally move the microphone down and walk around as like the backing track is like singing. She's like, I'm not even going to pretend that I'm singing this part of the song because to me, this is not an important part of the song.
That is such an accurate way to describe it too, because fans of her always say that is she never really has the microphone up the entire time during a performance.
Unapologetic. Yeah.
Why? Because her fans know every single word on her behalf.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so to summarize the last couple of things, because these are all like related but different, the lip syncing is like intention to deceive. Like,
yes,
I'm playing a song in the background and I want you to think that I'm singing it live, but I'm not.
Yes.
Then there is pre-recorded vocals, and that is also intended to deceive, but a little bit less, where it's just like there's some parts of the song. It's a custom track. There's some parts of the song where it's like
little safety nets, if you want to call them.
Little safety nets for kind of the hard to hit things that are pre-recorded. And then you're jumping back in with live vocals for the rest of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have kind of this third category of what you just called the backing track.
Yeah.
And that is not intended to deceive. That is literally like all of the layers, probably like very close to, or like the master Spotify track that everyone's used to hearing, that is just like playing in the background and is like microphone down, you know?
Yeah. And this is the important part. It's different from the pre-recorded vocals because it replaces that lead vocal.
It replaces the lead vocal. That makes sense. But I was just going to say it's actually like different than like the master Spotify version because it is a custom track where it's just like there's some sections that are kind of like pre-recorded. It's just like the main piece of it. It's much longer. It's like it could be the chorus or something like that. That's like, or like a complicated bit that's kind of like techno or something like that they can't reproduce with their singing. Something.
Possibly, yes. Yeah. I think it's just it replaces the lead vocal as in like it sounds like it's stacked upon, and if the artist is singing live on top of that, you'll hear that it sounds like two people singing the same part, and that's just because it's kind of like extra emphasis on some of these parts of the song, and people use them for like harmonies, you know, like maybe doubles or ad libs, you know, different parts like that.
For the backing tracks, do they have like customized backing tracks where there's some sections that are like not backed or something like that, and then it goes into like a backing track, or is it just like it's going to play the whole way through?
Yeah, I think my head is thinking of examples, and I'm thinking Nicki Minaj. I'm thinking rappers,
right? Because you don't want the rap piece to play, like you want to rap that live.
Eminem doesn't sing Love the Way You Lie. That's Rihanna. So he's going to rap his part. It's like,
can't tell you what it really is.
The backing track is going to be Rihanna singing her, just gonna stand there. Because she's not there at the concert.
Yeah.
And even if she was there, she might use the just gonna stand. And then she might continue it on.
I see. That makes sense.
And so I think we can transition from kind of understanding what's being used. And I think this is the point of Tori's question is like, I know artists are using something. I think these days we're kind of seeing a rise in that, and you might not notice, but there's probably artists that have been using these, pivoting from what is being used to why are artists using this is important. So I think that there's just a lot of like pressure on the artists these days. Choreography, constant travel, multiple shows, maybe in a weekend, in a week, and then from one dusty city to clean air, stuff like that. And I think that's why artists are choosing to maybe help themselves out. Like, I don't know if I can get through 100 shows during this tour if I have to sing some of these songs that I have to sing every single night. Like it just is probably not possible. Do we want to talk about more of this like aspect of like the pressure that they're feeling and why there's been kind of a shift to use some of those technologies in the vocals piece?
Yeah, I think maybe what I'm hearing, and you can tell me if this is right, is like we're reaching the edge of human capabilities, and the demands continue to grow. Kind of what it reminds me of, actually, a little bit is like sort of the current debate, especially with AI, on like what even is a picture anymore, because it's like, well, a picture used to be a thing that, you click the button and it exposed some film and then that was it. But it's like, well, the film that you chose influenced the color of the picture. And then so on and so forth. For a long time, we had Photoshop, and it was like, oh yeah, you could adjust the levels and the contrast. And it's like, is that still your picture? And it's like, okay, well now we add a Gaussian blur to the background. Is that still your picture? And so on and so forth. It's like, well, now AI could literally pop in a new object. Like, is that still your picture? And it's like, well, you would say no, right? But it's like, well, what if you just remove someone from the background that you didn't want in the picture, and it represents your artistic vision of what you wanted the picture to be, right? Like the best version of the picture. And it's like, is that still your picture, right? Like, did you create that thing? And so I guess sort of all of this is putting me in the space of, it comes down to the artist and the intentionality of the artist and what they're trying to accomplish. And I feel like it's like, yeah, if you're lazy and you don't actually want to sing or something like that, and you're using these as like a crutch because you don't actually have the talent or something like that, would be one conversation. I'm not saying that that's happening.
Drag. No, I honestly do think it might be happening a little bit. I think there are some industry plant artists that maybe don't have the chops.
Yeah. And they're using these technologies as a crutch, right?
Yeah. I don't think we live in a generation where there's artists like Mariah Carey or there's artists like Whitney Houston.
Okay.
Real big singers, right?
That's interesting.
I think we have Ariana.
That's interesting.
I think we have Demi Lovato, Tori Kelly.
Yeah.
Those girls can sing. Yeah. And those are the girls that you are seeing post videos behind the scenes where they're doing scales before their concerts. Yeah. And they're really working on that craft. Yeah. Some of these other girls I think are just popping up on the stage, and it's like, oh, I'm giving you a great show. And I'm going to maybe distract you a little bit by all this dancing and these fun outfits. Yeah. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a good show. It's very entertaining. Yeah. And I think of a lot of artists. I think Tate McRae, Sabrina Carpenter, no shade, but I feel like beautiful gowns. I will also say that like there is a lot of pressure from the fans as well. So the pressure comes from social media and our phones. One bad note. Yeah. You hear that little crack.
Recorded forever in TikTok history.
Do you remember when Alicia Keys cracked at the Super Bowl?
It goes back to, I feel like, a recurring theme on this podcast, which is authenticity. And I think, honestly, I'm okay with an artist using all of these tools. And like, I'm okay even with it being a crutch, as long as they're not pretending they are singers that can really sing or something like that. Like if they're there and everyone knows that they're like, hey, I'm here to see a performance, not to listen to this person sing. Like the singing is there, I want some familiar music to your dance moves. But if I'm there to party and to watch you up there and to see all the crazy stuff that you've put together for this show, I'm sort of okay with that. In contrast, if you are an artist and you are known for your singing, and I came there to listen to you sing this song live, and it's you and a microphone up there, and then I find out that you're using all these like auto tune and everything like that, I'd have a much bigger issue with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, that's your opinion. Yeah, that's my take. I feel differently about it because I was a singer, because I put in the work.
Yeah.
Because when I had a sour note, or when I missed choreography, or where I was huffing and puffing, and after the performance, my parents were like, "Hey, dude, what happened?" I think that pressure and like knowing that is what I wanted. I wanted to deliver a solid performance, right? And looking back at videos of myself, I'm like, I wish I would have done that note differently. And analyzing those things only made me a better performer. And I feel like I enjoyed that part and giving a great show. And so if I could have used some of these tools, I'd be famous by now. So it's like, but honestly, I'm like, okay, wait, you guys are getting away with this pitch correction. Imagine if I did that. I mean, there's sometimes where I have like a wrong note and I'm like, oh God, you can take all the vocal courses you want. Sometimes pitch, people have great pitch and others don't. And I feel like, those are things that you can fine tune. But if you're just using this mic where you have great pitch, what happens when somebody on the road, somebody in an interview is like, hey, can you sing a little bit of your new song? And they sound way different than the original recording or how they're sounding in concert. That's suspicious. That's
my point, though. I think you fall into the category of artist that would be more about the singing than about the performance. I think like if you made it big, you would be a great singer, and like the artistry and authenticity of that would shine through, and that would be a really important component to your identity as an artist. And I think that's not true for a lot of artists.
Yeah, there is that piece. I also just think that like if I'm paying these crazy prices for, I think that's the thing of like when we were trying to get Ariana Grande tickets, I know she was going to sing. And so I think you're paying to see this amazing singer. But then if other artists are charging these crazy prices and they're using all these things, it's messed up.
I mean, okay, can we take for a second? And we don't have to go. We could cut this part if we want. But I'm just like, I'm thinking of another person. Sophie Tucker.
Who? Just kidding. Yeah.
That's my point. I don't think she's a great singer.
It's a duo.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think they're a great. I don't think. Wait, are they both men?
No, it's a guy and a girl. Sophie and Tucker.
Okay. I don't think they're great, but like their music doesn't strike me as like singy music, but their performances strike me as a party.
You're expecting a DJ set, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So your expectations have already been set of what.
I think we're saying the same thing.
Same goes for Fish, or for Goose, or any of the other jam bandy folks.
Well, they give great performances.
But like, you're not expecting crazy vocals. You're expecting jam.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I think the other piece, I'll just say really briefly, is artists need rests. You're expecting somebody to go do this crazy show. And if you're a Taylor Swift and you have a 3-hour show, costume changes, there's dance breaks. And so that's why sometimes where you're stuck watching a video during a really long interlude, or sometimes the band gets to walk up and shred on the guitar, background vocalists are singing, that gives the opportunity for the artist to go catch a breath, change, get water. And so I think that like set list also sequencing, making sure that there's an opportunity in the set list for that to happen, but then also making sure that like you're not doing so many quick songs back to back and you're actually having that slow song to kind of chill for a second. That song was so vocally exhausting. Let's switch into a song where maybe I could lean on that backing track a little bit if needed. That's why artists are able to kind of have the stamina that they have during these long concerts. Thanks, Tori, so much for sending this topic idea. And hopefully you learned something.
Thank you, Tori.
And if you have a topic and you want to send that to us, you can send it to us at icare@ericy.xyz. Eric, what have we been listening to this week?
I've been listening to
you have a song for me.
Mis Colegas.
Okay.
By Ska-P.
Oh, it's the ska song. Cool.
That's gonna be. I'm taking the song because I have been listening to it on repeat. It was the very first song that we heard when we landed in Mexico City. We got into our Uber and he had this on in the background. And it was Ricky and I's first time in Mexico City. We're driving around. We're seeing all the scenes. And it was set to this music. And I feel like it really set the tone for the entire trip. And so this will forever have a special place in my heart.
Yes, it was very special. And I am a big fan of that song now. That is a great song.
Yep.
Good pick. This is a Britney Spears song. It's from Oops, I Did It Again album. It's called One Kiss From You. I'm giving you one kiss from you is all that I know. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's just very carefree. I think it's an underrated Britney Spears song. There's a line in the song that is sung in an interesting way that kind of reminds me of Rhythm of the Night by DeBarge. And I think I'm only going to throw that out there.
Yeah, I can hear that.
In case somebody who knows that song, when you're listening to it, you're like, what was he talking about? You're like, yes. So I love Britney. And I said, possibly every episode where I get the chance to talk about Britney, I will talk about her. That's it. That's what I got. That's our episode. Thank you guys for listening.
That's right.
And we will be back next week with a new episode. Bye.
Talk to you then.